As you can see, when I was talking about our conversation in the conference room, robust, we went through a wide range of risk and, if you will, positives. And so you will see that many of the panelists will have interesting views on how best to, if you're going to approach Africa from an investor's perspective, how to do that. And Joseph, I have actually, there are a couple questions for you. One being with respect to the Casey family program, a little bit about your history and track record investing in the continent, and what you think you'll do and need to increase your investments, one. And then two, what advice you'd give investors like our clients who are trying to enter the market and are just putting their toe in the water.
Okay. Thanks, Raphael. So, as you can tell from my last name, I'm from Ghana, but representing KC Family Programs. So if you came here to get an autograph from the footballer, you're in the wrong place. But thanks, African Investor, for having me here.
Your middle name's not Prince?
No. Right there. So talking about Africa, I've been an investor in Africa through KC Family Programs for a long time. We've made money. We've also had some bumps, and we've learned from it. Net has been very positive. So I'd like to step back and address, my colleagues set the stage for some of the points that I'm going to talk about. Talking about KC Family Programs, wonder what program is that? One happy or one big happy family. I'm sure you've all seen the brown trucks which block your way in the morning with UPS on it. Yes. KC Family Programs was founded 50 years ago by the founder of UPS. It's a private foundation, it's an operating foundation based in the US, and its goal is to improve the well-being of kids or young adults in foster care. Yes, US has its own issues, and I didn't know about it until I joined this foundation. And as an operating foundation, it means we don't fundraise. Whatever monies we take in came from the founder, Jim Casey, who is passed on. So we survive pretty much by the investment returns that we make on the assets. Jim collectively and his family left about $7 billion to cater to the programs. $2.2 billion is what I directly oversee. And of this 2.2, close to $500 million is in emerging markets across the globe. As you can tell, we are not limited by geography. Wherever the brown trucks, ply the roads, or wherever the brown airplanes fly to, we like to invest in those countries. So that is how we go about our business. So we have a creative tension, i.e., in its truest form, we can only eat what we kill. And since I'm vegan, I don't eat meat, we only go for the substance. Over the past 10 years, out of this 2.2 billion, we've spent over 1.1 billion on programs, but we still have 2.2 and plus. So the point I'm trying to bring out here is that we can only eat what we kill. We can only survive on investment returns. Otherwise, you eat into your seed money. Herein lies the attractiveness of Africa. Those of you looking at, investment performance, or you look at various asset classes, and if you're looking for 7% rate of return, high single digit, but it's not that easy to get. So we went into Africa before it became a necessity to go in to make the numbers work. So even though it's a charitable organization, when we make an investment, it's not charity. Capital has choices. So when we go to the continent, it's a matter of you doing well, we doing well, because we have over 400,000 children to feed in America. And the way I encourage my investment managers is if you lose money, then I'll give you some children to take care of. Because you have real mouths to feed. So let's go to Africa. We are invested in all asset classes, from public equities, private equity, real estate, and also in the debt capital markets. From both North Africa to Middle Africa, as the EcoBank MD talked about, I like the way he categorized it, and also South Africa. That's the way we look at it. And I would say that the headlines, you cannot be comfortable with the headlines. Beneath the headlines is the opportunity. And you need to know the people you are working with. We talk about the rule of law, having access to data and all that stuff. Good on paper, but trust me, it can only help you up to a point. If you have to sue someone in court, you may get your day in court, but are you going to wait for 20 years? Are you going to wait for 10 years? There's cost to doing business. So you need to understand who you're doing business with. And everybody will claim, yeah, you know, they know people can make things happen. You got to do your work. So by that, I mean you need feet on the ground. Drones will not work. I've traveled most of these countries, you know, from Botswana, South Africa, Joburg, Cape Town, Angola, Ghana, Nigeria, name it. Because we need to understand the people we are working with. We have patient capital, and if you're deploying money on the ground for 10, 15 years, I need to know who I'm investing with. I need to know what we're invested in. I need to know how the value creation is all done. If you're relying on hope, trust me, there are churches around here, I'll go there for that. So we are there to make money, and you are also to make money. So what is the criteria? The opportunity, we see it in the headlines. African rising, African ready for business. That, unfortunately, will not pass the investment criteria in my investment committee. Africa is rising, so is Asia, so is LATAM. So let's get to the bottom line. What are the risks? We talked about some of them in terms of the shared geography, not that it's, you know, is closer as far as I'm concerned than Asia. So geography is not a limitation. We talk about bankability of, you know, call it products. I haven't seen a standard definition of that. So maybe we need to get below the buzzwords and get down to the results, what gains we get from the investments we make. And I have to adjust it for the risk. The biggest risk for me is execution risk. It's not political risk. How do we call gridlock in Washington when you can't have any laws passed? That is also political risk. If your money is locked up, you cannot deploy it because you're waiting for clarity in policy, you're losing money indirectly. Execution risk, can the people deliver? Everybody presented with capital, most people will tell you they can get the work done. But the bottom line is that do they have the expertise to deliver the quality within the time that is expected? Most of this will go into the real estate infrastructure where you're taking development risk. Can that GP on the ground deliver? If they can't, or you have problems, take your money and move on. I also need to be compensated for the risk I'm taking. I'm not talking about any mean variance, you know, optimization stuff here, no standard deviation stuff. I'm talking about the risk of me losing money in the long run. One, I need a return of my capital, and I need a return on it to justify the investments over there because I have real mouths to feed. Outperforming by losing less doesn't cut it for me. Again, relative outperformance, if I want by losing less to not feed the kids, and we have folks here to feed. So if you take the risks, for me, execution is key. The quality of the people, the human capital, access to the markets. Again, feet on the ground, someone in London just flying in, flying back, writing good reports, again, doesn't cut it for me. We want to have that handshake. We own those investments, and that's the way we like to approach it. Just one quick word on public equities. On public equities, what I prefer and what we've done is to give global mandates and give our managers the latitude to invest in the countries they choose to invest. And they've done very well. Net, I've made more money in the developing countries, Africa included, than the developed. And that is what has funded the 1 billion plus in programs without tipping into the seed money. But it is hard work, and like I said, we all have our bumps and stripes, and we learn from it. We use the negatives to develop the positives, but it is hard work, and the headlines just doesn't cut it. Question to Rafael, we can come at specific questions.
Very good.
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.